again, a year on, we're still recording podcasts despite real tennis not existing. Again, episode 44. It's the morning of, and February's just started. We're in. Ben's here. Yay!
Mate, we're really dragging out this year birthday thing, aren't we?
Mate, it's going to be a year since real has stopped soon.
We've been banging on about that for the last 3 podcasts.
I know, yeah. It's the biggest thing, isn't it? Well, yeah, what else is there to talk about? I mean, I'm amazed we somehow manage to think of a topic every week. That's what gets me.
Do you know what? It would just be really, really nice to be able to just talk about something that's happened, or you know what I mean, or some news or something. And
US National League in March.
Well, US National League in March has been postponed.
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. Why has it been postponed?
I don't know. They're a bit concerned about this new strain, and they're just going to shelve it for a little bit. But Boston say they still want to do it, which is great. So they're just going to hold fire on it for a little while.
That's incredible.
Which is a shame, and pretty much just seems to be the way that life is at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very annoying. I can't believe that, man. We did a whole podcast on it, and we were really excited. And then I didn't know even it was in March, and it's like, oh, it's not even happening now. Should we just make up a tournament and preview it?
Should we just do some
do a draw?
Oh yeah, I was going to say that's true. Yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll do names in a hat next time. So there's no seeding. It's just right, this is happening right from round 1. See, because you might end up getting some rogue
qualifier,
Ivan Snell making it through to the final.
Oh my god, no, it's not 2004.
But do you know what I mean? If you've just got no seedings and you're just drawing names out of a hat, you could have you could have Faye versus Riviere and Chapman versus Taylor Matthews in the first round, and your 2 of the top 4 are gone.
It'd be Super Sunday.
Pave the way through.
Exactly, yeah, payday. But yeah, no, it's well, I know that is an idea. To be fair, that'll be when we truly do reach madness, when we're making up tournaments and thinking, yeah, right, we're previewing this event, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I was thinking we could come up with some little RT competition or something like that. But obviously, the club's closed, so as an amateur, you obviously just can't go in. I can go into work and stuff, but
yeah, you're not exactly hitting balls.
Shouldn't really be on court doing
anything
competitions, should I?
No. And what's the point as well?
Mate, it's such a negative thought, but you're absolutely right. What is the point?
What is the point? You're just hitting balls for no reason.
Yeah. Well, what a miserable start to this one.
No, we're not miserable. I'm positive, man.
When do you reckon the next tournament will be then? When do you reckon the next major tournament will be?
2022.
The whole year gone?
Yeah.
Ooh, that is miserable, isn't it?
Could happen.
I mean, it could definitely happen.
Yeah.
Let's hope not. Well, I don't know. They seem to be producing vaccines out of their ears all of a sudden, so that's good news.
Isn't it, mate? You're a vulnerable group, aren't you? You should be getting your vaccine soon.
Is that some terrible reference to my age?
I don't know what I was going to say. I was going to say something like age, and then I was going to say something about you've not won a major, and that was I didn't know where I was going with it before I said it. But.
Are you vulnerable due to lack of success?
Yeah. Height? I don't know.
Yeah, but to be fair, I wonder if there's any if you get any kind of chemical reactions that just give you a growth spurt or something.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. There's a chemical in the vaccine that actually sends you tall.
Anyway, what have you been doing with your week to 10 days?
Watching football. Chelsea won the other day. Home workouts. I'm getting quite good at press-ups. Taxes finished, but I mean, the deadline was increased to the end of Feb for tax.
Was it?
Yeah. Genuinely. So it's not the 31st.
So your last week wasn't as hectic as it could have been?
Nah, it was still pretty hectic because we got them all done. But last week was pretty busy. That's probably the one reason I forgot to do a podcast. But no, just watching footy, doing home workouts. reading. I've been reading about the Foreman v Ali fight in Zaire in 1975.
Oh, Rumble in the Jungle.
Correct, yeah. Which is interesting. So, fact for all you listeners today, before we talk about real tennis, George Foreman used to have his hands in his pockets all the time because it's like, yeah, guns in holsters. Doesn't want to expose them.
I love that.
Rackets in the bag, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Don't let them brave the elements.
So yeah, reading's going well, but other than that, no. Everyone keeps asking me, right, like, oh, you're missing real tennis. My dad's even like, oh, I just can't. It's so sad we can't practice. And I'm like, Dad, I think you're more bothered than me. Like, I think my like botheredness was in like May. I'm over it.
You were absolutely heartbroken for the first bit of lockdown, weren't you?
Yeah, and then I realised that if you're keeping your rig, nothing else really matters.
Keeping. So you're not interested in growing the rig then? You've made it, have you?
I mean,
small mentality.
Every time in lockdown, it just shrinks, but these things happen. Anyway, this is my baby today. I've come up with a topic which is rare. So my housemate, right, he's big into this thing called XG, expected goals in football, and I just thought, what if we had access to years of data in real tennis, which we arguably do, but if it was all readily available, and real tennis used a sort of function of XG. Now, Ben, do you know what XG is?
No, you kind of.
I didn't explain it very well.
No, basically, no. You told me about it yesterday, and I kind of think I got a grasp of it. But for everybody else's benefit, crack on.
Yeah. So XG in football basically is the chance of a team scoring from a given position. So let's say if it's an open goal, high XG, and the maximum you can get is obviously 1 because that's basically a goal.
So is it so? Sorry, let me quickly ask a question.
Go on.
Is it like similar? So you know there's an Instagram account that
RT Stats
posts like the percentage win chance, basically.
Well, yeah, in theory,
but based on stats, and it's the same thing. It would be the same kind of thing as like odds on like a horse race, which is based on it's based on something. It's not just people randomly plucking things out.
So I'd say yes, there are percentages in that, but
I'm assuming the XG could translate not only to like team but player,
so
all that kind of stuff as well. So you would have like if Dwight Gale is 1-on-1 with a goalkeeper, he scores 4 out of 10 times.
Depends if the goalkeeper's in League One. But so okay, the one difference between the RT Stats account, which gave percentages, that's based off match results, whereas XG is based on like actual positions on the pitch, right? So we will be taking this data to real tennis on a point by point basis almost.
Yes.
So imagine every single point is logged, every single ball position is logged, blah blah blah. What is the percentage chance that Ben Taylor Matthews is going to finish the point from chase 4 yards, ball off the back wall? What's the percentage chance? And obviously, in theory, this is all theoretical, but I'm saying like if we could get to that level, like you'd know, like right, yeah, my percentage chance is 70% from there. Based on like the height of the balls.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I reckon, just very quickly, I don't know if would you want to know? Would you want to know your numbers?
Well,
there's two things I'm thinking about here.
Do footballers want to know their XG, but it's just available?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, would you just be like, look, I don't want to know that because some people could some people could think about it too much, but then at the same time, obviously, it'd be a very, very good tool for someone to go, right, my rating is very low in this area.
Yeah.
So that's an obvious thing for me to target.
For
me to try and target to improve.
I'd see it like that because it's not necessarily a defensive tool. It's all like offensive stuff. So if you saw from the backhand corner when it's an easy ball off the back wall, ball's X height above the ground. If I'm missing a lot, if I'm not ending the point, perhaps I need to practice that shot because I've got comparatively high XG in the other corner. You could obviously people could target it, but this is talking about easy balls, easy chances. So like a normal rally ball is not high XG, is it?
No.
Okay, so let's say you're not going to hit like the grill or the winning gallery from the backhand corner that much unless it's a proper like easy ball. So yeah, it could.
Yeah, but that would be also because you're less likely to take that grill shot on, right?
Yeah,
From that corner, unless you get like a much bigger, better opportunity to do so.
Yeah, that's why it wouldn't necessarily work in relers, because there are certain times you would turn down an attacking opportunity, whereas in football it's so like black and white. Right, we're going for the goal. We're going for the goal. But yeah, it would be interesting because I think it would bring into play like the return of serve. Like, let's say how many shots in a rally. Let's say if I'm in a rally for more than 5 shots, my percentage chance of winning goes up. If I'm in the rally for less than 3, the chances are I'll lose the point. So again, it could be tailored towards your game, as in like you need to try and stay in a rally the longer as possible. As long as possible, and you might win. So stuff like that, really.
I mean, that would obviously be absolutely amazing. Amazing to have. Like, obviously, a couple of people are doing, stats on real tennis, and it should be noted that obviously they're just like taking time out of their day to try and do it, which is insane.
Trust me.
But like, imagine having the technology to be able to properly do something like that. Like you say, it would be interesting to see how they would like tweak it, because obviously a lot of the, as you've said, like, let's say you're like, if you're at the service end, like the goal is not just the grill, is it? Whereas in football, like you say, the goal is the goal.
Exactly, yeah. So I think it works so well in football because obviously I told you the Villa v Burnley game. Villa had an XG of 3 based on their quality of chances. Burnley had an XG of 0.79. So basically, Villa were expected to score 3 goals. Burnley weren't even expected to score 1, really. But just on how it played out, Burnley obviously got a bit lucky. They scored. Villa missed loads of chances, underperformed their XG, and didn't win. So it could be used to like explain certain matches. Like, people be like, "Oh, I just couldn't hit a target today." Sure, you're underperforming your XG.
Do you know what would be really interesting with something like that as well? Is I reckon that a lot of the stats that got thrown up would be quite surprising for people as well.
Yeah, because I completely agree.
Particularly for the person in question, you always build up in your mind an image of like what has or hasn't happened during a match based on like your emotion involved in it. And so I remember, I may have told you this before, I remember playing in like a National League final years ago.
Yeah.
And I played Hobbsy.
Oh, what a player! What a player! One of the greats.
Played Hobbsy at Hampton Court, and I beat him.
Well, thank God it wasn't Newmarket.
I wouldn't even bother turning. I'd probably sent a sub.
Yeah.
I would have just told Nibsy to play him.
Yeah, good.
I beat him, and I remember coming off court, and like that was, we were like, I was a couple of 2 or 3 points better, but on paper, but it's like it was a good battle. And I came off court, and I was like, that was good. And I was just like, I couldn't stop him hitting the winning gallery. Like, he just hit so many winning galleries against me today.
I thought you were going to say I couldn't stop him forcing. I was like, what? He was hitting winning galleries?
And the person who was talking to me was like, it's really interesting you say that, because I was actually keeping a record of like targets and basically just like errors. It's like I was just doing it all like on a pen and paper, so I was having to keep it quite simple. And he was like, he hit 2 winning galleries in the whole match. I was like, what?
No, you're joking.
This can't be right. And he was like, yeah, you actually hit 3. And I was like, I don't remember hitting a single one. And obviously, because of where I was at in the match, he was probably hitting his winning gallery at advantage to him, or 40-30 to me. You know what I mean? It was a crucial winning gallery. I was probably hitting mine at love all when you just don't remember it.
Yeah.
So I'd be really interested to see how those, like how that XG stuff.
That's a really good.
Gave you the actual real. You can't. So I listen to like Talk Sport a lot, and you always hear people talking about stats versus opinion.
Yeah.
And I've never really understood, like, when people are just but it doesn't matter that the stats say this, blah blah blah. I'm very much of like the stats are like, they're facts. You know what I mean? It's not. Yeah. There's no opinion involved.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying XG definitely will tell you the score of a football match, and I've had like months.
No, but like if you came off court and you were just like, oh, my backhand that was dreadful today. And I was like, well, it's interesting because I started that, and you got 90% over, and of that 90%, you won the point or set the point up, or you either won the point or won the point with your next shot 60% of the time. You would say that's an insanely high percentage rate, right?
Yeah.
And say, well, I've obviously hit my backhand off the back very well today, but you emotionally would be like, it didn't feel like you did, just because you may have missed a couple at bad times, which kind of stick out a bit more. And yet some people kind of say they're all very much of the opinion, whereas I'm very much of the opinion well, stats are facts. You can't argue with facts, can you?
Yeah. I've had weeks basically being sceptical over XG. Well, months basically, because one of my best mates is like a huge devotee in football, and basically I was like, mate, goals are goals. Like, all I'm interested in is who scored. And he's like, no, but his XG, like blah blah, he's outperformed it, and he basically applied it to Werner, who's obviously in a bad run of form. Said that in the last
bad run of goal scoring form for sure.
But he's actually getting into good XG positions, so he's actually getting into positions where he could be finishing goals. So let's say in real tennis, he's playing really well, like defensively, like getting into positions where he could be finishing the point, but he can't. And so therefore, in previous years, he'd overperformed his actual XG because he's just not the best finisher.
Well, and what people are going to, what managers are going to say about that when fans who are obviously not as clued up as they think they are, and they're thinking with emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to turn around and say that he's doing really badly. Like, why do you still pick him? Like, the manager is obviously going to have access to those stats that kind of go, well,
he's getting in positions.
He's getting himself into the correct positions so frequently. Like, he's doing everything right. He's just not scoring.
Yeah.
They're just going to be like, well, of course we're going to keep picking him because at some point he's going to bag a couple, and then his confidence will be up, and then he'll start banging them in because the most important thing, right, is getting into the positions.
Yeah.
If he scores one a game, well, actually, if he scores one a game, he's in the side. But if he scores one every 2 games and it's some 35-yard perler, but for the other 93 minutes of the match, he's being an absolute donkey.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that
because he's contributing nothing to the team.
Yeah, exactly. So again, with reelers.
So, in fact, I remember Sean Dyche something. I feel like. Go on.
With reelers again, that would be similar to someone who's literally just getting the ball over the net, and they're scrapping to win points, winning games to 30, blah blah blah, and basically just staying in the set until 4-all, and then anything could happen. Rather than someone who's just winning games clinically, maybe missing a few chances, whereas there's only one of those styles of play is more sustainable than the other.
Yeah, well, there's obviously a lot of volatility that comes into it as well, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think
if you've got a solid, so the way I imagine it is like, imagine a picture of a graph, right?
Yeah.
And you've got someone who's just really solid, doesn't take a load of risks, but on that basis doesn't make a load of errors. If they have a good day, let's say if they just play normally, they're going to play to, I don't know, 80% of their potential, right? I'm just making that number up.
Yeah.
If they have a really, really good day, because of their style of play, which isn't very high risk and stuff like that, they might play to 85%. And then on a bad day, again, because they don't take many risks, they might play to 75%. So they've got, if you imagine this line going from left to right, it's going to wobble, but it's going to be very, very, it's going to be quite straight.
Yeah.
If you've got someone that comes in and just goes, right, big targets, like, same thing, normally 80%. On a good day, they could play to like 90 or 95%.
Yeah.
But on a bad day, they could play to like 50%. So that line is now really up and down, zigzaggy.
Yeah.
So those kind of people, if they lose, and let's say I would say those type of people are probably more likely to suffer a shock, in inverted commas, defeat, because they have the ability to play at only 50%, right?
Yeah.
They're going to just kind of go like, oh, it wasn't really my day today, or something like that, and that's a reason or whatever. Whereas like the person who plays like solid is going to go, do you know what? I'm never going to hit 90-95%, but I know when I walk on court, I can only play as bad as 75.
Yeah, very good point. And I think
I can only be so bad. So that type of person. I'm not saying like one's right, one's not. But like that type of person is going to go on court and go, do you know what? If I play at my lower XG level, let's say, I might end up winning like 4-4 and 4 today, and I might have to be out there for a bit longer and put a bit more work in, but I'm still winning a match.
I think that's as well, the system does take that into account. I think it gives a range, because obviously it's got access to data, so like basically forever, based on like chances and styles of play, blah blah blah. And so yeah, it gives you a range. So let's say it could be between 75 and 90%, or which could mean between 1 goal and 4 goals. Do you know what I mean? Well, not 1 and 4. That's ridiculous, but it'd be like 2.4 and 3.1.
Yeah, and obviously the thing is, like, what people need to realise is like that's stats based on what people or teams and clubs like have done. Doesn't mean they're going to do it on the day. Like you say,
100%.
Villa were statistically likely or to score 3 goals against Burnley because that's just where the two teams like married up against each other.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean they have to score 3 goals. I mean, they did score 2, so like they weren't far away. They lost the match, but obviously the stats say that they should win 3-0 or 3-1.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't mean it's going to happen every time, does it? But it's basically it's obviously a tool to be used for like form as well, and like moving that back in towards like real tennis. If you've got obviously what it's going to take into, well, it probably wouldn't. Would it take into account your stats against another given club, or would it just be like, this is statistically what this person or this team does?
I think it would, yeah. It would, yeah. Historical stats, because you're going to play different against different teams, and let's say like if Wolves are going to play a 5-man defence against you, you're going to have to play a different way, so it's obviously going to be lower. So I think it does, yeah. I think the system does incorporate it.
Because I was basically just thinking to myself then, like, if you were playing, I don't know, if you're playing somebody like Cam, for example,
yeah,
and you're a steady Eddie,
yeah,
you're
gonna lose.
You're gonna lose, right? So against some people, like a Cam, you're going to go, right, I need to play out of my, and this is just basically a compliment to him because he's forcing people to change what they do. They're going to have to play out of their normal comfort zone.
Yeah.
To try and be a bit more risky, to try and close that gap, right? Which will probably then mean, they play or make some poorer decisions they would do normally, which plays right into his hands. But that's not my point. But
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like in real tennis, that could, because it's very much a head-to-head one-on-one. I think that would have a big advantage over like football.
Yeah.
It's like when people go, oh, Leeds are playing Newcastle, like they haven't lost to Newcastle in the last 7 or whatever. I'm just like that doesn't really much to me because there's 11 people out there.
Yeah.
And that's irrelevant because you go, oh, they like coming to James's Park or whatever. It's like, well, who played last time? Do you know what I mean? They may not have played for 3 years, so like, what? Like, it's pointless. It's a pointless thing. Whereas with real tennis, you've got a direct one-on-one, haven't you?
Yeah.
This is what this person does against this person, and that's, I think those like stats are easier
because it's much smaller, yeah, and like it could only be logged by like a professional company. I mean, I'm not suggesting it could actually happen, but I'm thinking of like at some point in lockdown, if I really do choose to lose my mind, going through a match or 2 matches and like dividing the court up into 4 sections, or like let's say it could be like roof or whatever, and thinking like, well, how often do people finish a point from here and logging it. And like it could incorporate return serve. I don't know how successful it'll be, and I'm sure like Giles Doyle's done something like this.
Well, mate, if your mate is a football stats guru,
he properly is.
We'll get him to do it with you.
Yeah, the annoying thing is he doesn't understand reelers, but yeah. He helped me. He helped me come up with a theory for the podcast. I was like, look, mate, I think I'm going to talk about XG on the podcast. Can you give me a few tips? And he basically did give me a few helpful tips. So yeah.
But as in, you could sit down with him and he could just go, right, this has just happened from a statistical point of view, and then you could add the like real tennis knowledge aspect to it and just be like, yeah, but that's not a winner from there. Like that's, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the guy's missed a shocker.
Yeah, no, he's missed that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, God, imagine having the ability to be able to do that. Like, what do they do in tennis? There's obviously a similar system in tennis.
I think there is XG in tennis, yeah.
Because that would be interesting to look at, mainly because there is not, it's a similar type of sport in the sense that the ball's going over the net, you've got 400 backhands and stuff, but there's also no specific target.
Yeah, there isn't. Yeah, you're right.
But like, let's say, it could be quite interesting.
I know. I'll do some more thinking on it. I mean, one thing expected goals or XG wouldn't work well in is squash.
Why is that? Explain that one.
Because it's just like the rallies go on for so long, and like it's not really a point about finishing points, is it?
Well, no, it's not. But I wonder. Well, I mean, it is. I just wonder that I don't think they all go out there and think, oh yeah, I'm just going to have like 50-shot rallies today. It's just much harder to.
Yeah, I know.
It's much harder to like set the point up, isn't it? Because they're just all so good.
They are unreal.
They're all so good and so tight. You just can't really. So I would imagine, for example, exactly what I was talking about like the kind of high winners, high errors person versus the solid player.
Yeah.
If you're a high winner, high error person in squash, you're going to find your ceiling pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because the people that are just solid are just going to be like, I never need to win a point. I just keep the ball in play and you will lose it, and therefore you'll never beat me. And squash would literally be as black and white as that, because it's a square, it's a cube, with people not misreading the angles. So,
not misreading anything.
Yeah, so it's literally just like, that's just surely, that's just basic maths, isn't it? Like, just you can't, that style wouldn't work. But
yeah,
it would be interesting because, again, like, imagine if I said to you, now, right, mate, next time we play, we're going to play 3 sets, and you're going to get 100 opportunities to hit the grill.
Well, I'm not.
Well, let's say you are. You're going to hit 4. Would you take that?
Not really.
Right. If I said you're going to get 100 opportunities to hit the grill and you're going to outright win the point 70 times, would you take that?
Absolutely.
Right. But you might not hit the grill once.
Yeah, that's fine though. I don't care.
No, that's exactly what I mean. So I think people can get a bit too kind of caught up in reelers, kind of thinking like, like my grill count is low, right? Compared to the other top 10 players, like it is low.
Yeah.
But maybe I take it on more than other people, therefore my stats are going to be lower. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
But also, if I'm never hitting the grill, but I'm getting like edge of timbre and like misreads and nicks and stuff, I don't care. Do you know what I mean?
Why would you?
The ultimate goal is win a point. So that's what I mean. It's amazing. If I offer you 4 out of 100 grills, you're going to say no. If I offer you 70 out of 100 points, you're going to say yes. The grill may or may not be involved in that, but do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. That's why it really is so hard.
Depending on how you phrase the question to somebody, they're going to go, no, 4 out grills is dreadful, mate. Like, all right, win 70 points, but only hit 4 grills. Well, yeah, I'll take that all day long.
Don't care.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's where proper statting like that would be amazing. Like when someone is quite like a clear and obvious attempt at the grill,
yeah,
are they hitting it? Yes or no? If the answer's no, right, are they winning the point with it? Yes or no? If they're like no, right, are they then being put under pressure because they've missed it? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you can easily then start to figure out, by the way, every time or 60% of the time that you miss the grill, you're under more pressure than you started with, or doesn't matter that you keep missing the grill because you're winning the point anyway, just crack on.
Yeah, just crack on.
It'd be a very simple tipping point as a coach to a player, I think, at that point.
Yeah, I know. I think it's just so tough because Rio's matches go on for so long, and like for a coach to analyse it. But who knows? We're talking theoretically, obviously, on this podcast. Like, what would technology do to the game? And like just before we like wrap it up, what do you think like about other technology like video analysis, like the stuff they've got in football, like distance covered, blah blah blah? Anything else you can think which would help the game maybe in terms of coaching?
Well, I think there's no secret. Like, if you can see for yourself, then it's much easier, right? So like a lot of the things I like do when I'm in lessons is I ask people, can you have a look at my forehand? No, I'm like, right, where do you think your racket is during your swing or whatever? And they'll kind of show you where it is. I'm like, right, it's not there. And they're like, really? I'm like, no, it's back here. And they're like, oh, God. I'm like, I'm not telling you to criticise you and say you've got it wrong. I'm just telling you because you think it's somewhere else.
Yeah.
Therefore, when I say, like, oh, try not to get your racket back too far, they're like, well, I'm not. And I'm like, right, you think you're not, but I'm showing you where it actually is.
Yeah.
So if you know where it actually is, it's easier to fix. So again, it's that whole thing about perception. You perceive it to be in a certain place, but when you've got someone telling you a fact that it's not, then you're like, right, it's easier for me to change. So there's no secret that like having video analysis and stuff is obviously a good thing, because if I had somebody like secretly filming me do like a drill or something, and I then decided to pick on one aspect of that drill,
yeah,
what you're seeing is fact. You're not seeing an opinion, are you?
Yeah.
You're actually seeing facts. Like, Mark Edel did a lot of that.
Did he? Didn't know
a few years ago. Yeah, he went around to clubs with like a camera and stuff, and basically did like a coaching day. And,
I hope it wasn't in the changing room. I hope it wasn't in the changing room.
So it works. I think the difficulty is in reelers at the moment is if you want to do like a video session, you can do it, but you generally need someone else there to do the videoing because you don't have the cameras built in and stuff like that like you do in other sports. But
even like filming practice is just so annoying. Like you've got to put a camera like on the corner of the dead on, you can't really see everything.
Yeah, you're just like, right, you're banned from taking on main walls just in case.
Yeah, don't go down the line, mate.
Yeah. So I think there's no question that like video analysis stuff is just been a massive like plus for all sports.
Yeah.
Because you, like I said, you're not seeing opinions, you're seeing facts.
100%, yeah.
And it would be great. It would be absolutely great to be able to incorporate something like that. But the thing is, like, I've thought about doing some video stuff at the club, and the issue you've got with it is like if I'm not teaching, then I've got other stuff to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you wanted to do a video lesson, you'd be like, right, you need to sit down and have a chat before about what you're going to do, what it's going to like what it's going to entail, etc., etc. And then you've got to get on court, do it, and then obviously afterwards, you can't just be like, right, that was good, I'll send you an email.
Yeah.
You've got to like go through it and analyse it or whatever. So I think the problem is, from a time perspective, it just, if, in order to do it properly, like it's got to be like 2 hours or maybe even 2.5, 3 hours for an hour on court.
Yeah.
Or an hour and a half on court. And then suddenly, you start having to price that. And it's tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think like...
Because I'm just like, right, Shankers, let's do a 2 hour session. Let's do 3 hours. We'll do an hour and a half hitting. We'll have a proper like chat before. We'll do an hour and a half hitting, and then we'll do like an hour analysis afterwards. And then obviously at the end of that analysis...
Well, if we had beers, it'd be fun.
It'd be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But then at that point, I'm like, right, that's 3 hours out of my working day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's only an hour and a half on court, whatever. You've got to pay for 2 hours court time. Then you've got someone that's out and about, not doing club work.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that, by the way, I just turn around and go, right, so what you need to do now is you need to come and book another lesson so we can work on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it just starts to, I think, I'm trying to come up with a way to make it less expensive to do it, but at the same time, not make it so Britishly cheap.
If you bought me a beer, I'd do it. I'd do the analysis.
Well, but you know what English people are like? They just bulk at the price of everything. So if you turn around and go, do you know what? If you want a video lesson, it's 100 quid, but you're going to get me for 3 hours.
Yeah.
They're going to go 100 quid, no way.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. That's
Even
absolutely fine. Oh, no, you can't. That's too much.
If you actually break it down, it's pretty normal.
Or you just turn around and go, all right, do you want to do it for 50 quid? And they're like, yeah, I'll do it for 50 quid. And then you're out there thinking,
what am I doing?
You literally completely undersold this.
Yeah.
Like, why am I doing this? You know, I think it's one of those things. If you want it incorporated
data and tech
into real tennis, I think people need to realise that like the
expensive,
person in question who's delivering that lesson is going to have to invest a lot of time and effort into that. So it's going to cost.
Well, we'll see.
But same thing. You can't imagine all of the cameras and stats that happen in football. Like that's just not someone out of the goodness of their heart. Imagine the millions and billions that have been invested into getting that to happen.
Yeah, Opta stats. It's all Opta stats.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's we can talk theoretically. We can talk how it would help. It's a good concept, and let's hope just more and more amateur stats people and readers. Maybe me, who knows? Let's hope that the data just keeps rolling in as matches one day happen again. So, Benoit Asuakoto, we're on to American courts again. So we were in, we were in
Philly
last week, yeah. Another one I've not been to. And we're going to do another one I've not been to again.
Well, yeah, it just makes sense to do, again, geographically, to just head down to Washington.
Yeah, Washington, D.C. Built in like 2000, 2001, 99, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't actually know, which is pretty bad, isn't it? But it's definitely around that.
Yeah.
Definitely around that kind of time. I mean, this could be exciting because we can end up by the time we get to America, we can end up like previewing the new Washington court or Charleston.
Yeah.
If things keep plodding along.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know when it was when it was created or built, but it's definitely around that late 90s, like mid to late 90s mark. It's the Prince's Court, isn't it?
It is indeed the Prince's Court, yeah.
So it's not actually in Washington. It's about
outside.
It's about 20 minutes, I think, west, if my geography serves me right. Yeah, in a place called McLean.
Well, that's just down the road then in America. That's like a 5-minute walk.
Yeah, it's very, very easy. Very easy, and it's part of like just a sports club, I guess, like a big leisure centre.
Oh right. I didn't know that.
I went there for the first time a few years ago because the US Open was in Philly.
I know this story.
And I was just like, I've got no reason other than wanting to. I've got no business that will ever take me to Washington. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't play. Well, it doesn't host the US Open. The two times I'm in America are the US Open and the US Pro, and it doesn't host either of those. So I was like, I want to get over there and play it. So it was when the US Open was in Philly. I was like, right, well, this is a great opportunity. It's just down the road. So I spoke to Ivan and was like, can I come down after the US Open and have a hit? We ended up turning it into an exhibition, and it was going to be me and John Lumley.
Yeah.
And then it got upgraded to me and Rob with like 120 people there or something.
Does that mean you were paid you were paid a $5 and a beer then for the match?
I think I think the lion's share of the pot went to the world champion.
Wonder why.
But to be fair, I would imagine the sheer presence of him upped the pot, so I probably did better as a result of him being there.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
And I was thinking, it'd be good, it'd be the end of the US Open, so I'll have had a couple of days on the beer or whatever, and then I'll go and have just a knock around at DC and just say I've done it. And then suddenly this thing's like snowballing, and there's like 120 people there to watch me and Rob, like expecting like a proper ding dong. I'm like, oh god. But it was really, really good fun, and the court it's up on like the 5th floor of this sports centre.
Really?
Honestly, yeah. And it's so kind of tucked away in the corner. If you walked into that, you could be a member of that sports club for 10 years and never know it was there.
No way.
Like honestly, you would never like stumble across it, just because of where it's located within the club. I mean, that tells you how big like the sports club is.
Oh right. Is it like a little sort of corner door, and like you just walk past it by accident?
Well, it's right up in the top corner. I think from memory, you have to you come through this door, and you've got some indoor lawners courts, maybe 3 of them.
Yeah.
And you basically, like in leisure centres where you get those heavy nets that you can just pull across the whole width of a leisure centre.
Yeah, got you.
So it divides the main sports hall, basically.
Yeah.
They've pretty much got one of those, and you just you kind of walk around the other side of the net, and then suddenly you're in the court tennis area. There's no door
mental.
or anything like that. It's quite a strange setup.
Yeah, that's really odd.
Nothing can prepare you mentally, pictures and all that kind of stuff. Nothing can prepare you mentally for the glass wall.
Right. Okay. How weird is it?
Because when I was there, I was I'll wander down the main wall, and it's a really good setup there. Around the back of the dead on and around the back of the main wall and stuff is all just completely open. So that's massive social area.
Yeah.
Pro shops in the corner of that, and it is it's a really open plan space. But I sat down on one of the couches, just by the main wall, just kind of near the net. I was watching 2 members play, and I just looked at it and was just you suddenly realise you've never seen real tennis from that angle before.
What, as in right in the main wall?
Yeah, because you can watch real tennis from the main wall. So Newport, Rhode Island, you've got the upper galleries.
Yeah, got you.
And stuff like that. But you've never watched a game of reelers from 5 foot up the main wall.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, obviously.
So you're just suddenly wow, this is really weird. I'm able to completely look at someone's return a serve from a 45-degree angle rather than through the dead on net. You can see people moving into that forehand corner at the service end, from the side. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can see them moving towards you rather than you having to stand in the middle of the court or whatever and watch them moving away from you. It's amazing from a vantage point. And actually, what I realised as soon as a bunch of people started turning up to watch is that is the best court in the world to do an exhibition on.
In terms of people watching, because the most people watch.
Because you just literally cram. You can cram 100 people at least just down the main wall.
Yeah.
In terms of spectating, you would, if you could cram everybody a body into every crevice in every court in the world. Yeah. I think Washington would have the highest. You could get the most people in there.
Is there a top gallery? Doesn't even need to be, I guess.
I don't think you need one. If you've got the whole of the airspace of the main wall, and you could you could genuinely put a stand down the sides and have a tiered seating system.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's so yeah. I remember when I was out there, I was just wow, this as a venue for an exhibition, it's absolutely perfect because you're surrounded.
What is the main
You've
wall?
Got people down the corridor, people down behind the dead on, people behind the main wall. You are literally encompassed.
What is the glass main wall? Does it bounce weirdly?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, how crazy?
So when you've got so think of Preston Hall, right?
Yeah.
And if the ball hits the glass right in the middle,
yeah.
Not that the glass ever gives way or anything, but the glass is at its deadest.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if you hit the joint where 2 panes of glass are meeting,
yeah,
that's quite lively.
Okay.
So
yeah, it is. Yeah.
The bounce is different. It's exactly that. But with glancing, so the ball's kind of glancing off the main wall, and then every now and then it'll hit a joint and jut in towards the middle of the court and nearly take your head off. But that's not a criticism. That's obviously going to happen if you've got that kind of setup on the.
How do you hit a main wall then? If everything just stays thin.
Well, no, you can, but it's Rob and I kind of said to each other before we went out there, right, let's not start lashing, because if you're playing at full tilt, it can be dangerous. It could be dangerous.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's obviously a lot going on behind the glass. There's couches, there's people, so you're trying to pick the ball out of the air with quite a busy background.
Got you.
So it's much harder to pick up than it would be normally. So you're basing your kind of ability to read it on like an angle and a punt much more than what you can see.
Yeah.
But really strange, like when you're at the hazard end and someone's got a ball like in the forehand corner and they hit the ball up the main wall and you kind of can't see it, and then suddenly the main wall turns from glass into like concrete again where the timbre starts.
Really?
Yeah, so the glass stops at the timbre.
So like you can't see the ball when it's coming over?
I mean, you can see it, but if you put a ball up against the timbre, which is just a black bit of concrete, that ball's going to stick out like a sore thumb, right?
Yeah, obviously.
And then you put the ball in front of glass, you're going to see it's not going to be as visible.
I get you now.
So the ball's travelling up the glass, and it's like less visible, and then it just kind of finishes going through the glass, hits the timbre, and then you just suddenly see it like a football. So it's quite interesting. It's a very interesting challenge.
Yeah.
But good fun.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Yeah. It sounds extraordinary.
I think it's one of those courts where you're just like, right, unfortunately, you can't host major stuff there because of the potential danger of it. But what an addition to like the real tennis world, having a court like that.
Yeah.
To have a crack at. It's quite bouncy. It's pretty fair and easy to play on. I think from memory, like it takes a railroad, like you can just roll it in and it just kicks back. I was pretty hungover when I was there, if I'm honest. But like, it's a perfectly nice court. The main wall is obviously a bit wacky, but that's not like a criticism. It's if anybody gets offended by that, like obviously it's going to be a bit wacky. It's a different surface than we're all used to, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a court, isn't it? Preste's quirky, Washington's quirky.
Yeah, but yeah, I was really taken aback at like how amazing it was as a spectator venue. And if you wanted to kind of do a big hard corporate sell on something, that would be a great place to.
Well, I mean, it's getting rebuilt though, isn't it, Washington?
Yeah, they're doing. I don't actually know where, so I'm a bit. I mean, as we're proving to ourselves here, we don't do a massive amount of prep for these things. We just got to do it.
Yeah.
So they're moving to Westwood Country Club, which is in Vienna, Virginia. I don't actually know where that is, but I'm going to Google that now quickly. But yes, they're looking to move a bit further out. And start all over again. Do you know anything about the project?
Mate, come on. I don't.
That's it. not as in like what type of like concrete and screen they're going to use, but
I mean,
are they going? Do you know if they're going glass again?
Mate, I don't know. I don't have a clue. Can someone let us know?
Yeah, I'd be very interested to know.
I'm sure I could find out, but maybe not right now.
Here we go, mate. Westwood Country Club.
Sounds cool though, country club.
Right, so it's a little bit further out than McLean, which is where the current court is. But very quickly, Google Maps tells me it's a 10-minute drive from McLean to the country club. So it's going to be
it's just the same place.
So it's going to be like half an hour out of the centre of Washington.
Oh, no change then.
And I'm just looking at the pictures of the Westwood Country Club now, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Golf course. That function room looks amazing. Swimming pool. I mean, it looks like an extremely nice venue. So it'll be interesting to see when they can get that up and running. It's also right by like a big freeway, highway, whatever they call them over there. I don't know.
Motorway.
I just don't know what the difference is.
Autobahn.
Yeah, it's right. It's right next to a very major road, and is then right by a couple of really, really major roads. So I think in terms of driving access, it'll be a piece of cake to get to. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of people sneaking in there for a couple of rounds of golf.
Yeah, defo. Well, that's the thing. Like, at least it's attached to a club anyway, so it'll get members. But Benno, right? Obviously, I've never been to Washington. I really want to go. But what is your favourite bit about Washington? You might have already said it.
Yeah, it's just got to be the viewing, the different. There's just a completely different perspective that you get of real tennis that you can't get anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
Just being able to stand behind that main wall and see everything that you can't see anywhere else is like it's a bit kind of mind blowing. You're just like, God, I remember thinking like, oh, I didn't think it would be this strange, but obviously it is because you've never been able to see anything from there before.
Exactly. Yeah, that's unreal.
So it's amazing. It's good, and yeah, I mean, God, if you ever want exhibitions and stuff, trying to get sponsors into game, that is the place.
Love it. Well, I can't. Where are we next week then? Court wise.
Well, I guess we'll just continue going south, which would mean we're in Aiken.
Oh, God, oh, I've been there.
Yeah, I haven't, so will you.
Oh well, finally. One where I've actually been. But no. Well, we'll get this podcast out. What do you want for the rest of today, Benno?
I've actually got quite a busy day today. I'm going to go into the.
Give me a few lessons.
I'm going to take the dog out quickly in a minute, and then into the gym, and then
nice.
I need to take some stuff back to Screwfix, and then I need to start prep. I'm painting the lounge this week, so I need to start prepping that, taping everything up.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to it, but we'll see.
Good.
How about you?
I'm off to work in 15 minutes. Dad's not in for the first 3 days this week, so who knows? I'll be quick on the old replies.
Who's in charge?
No, not me.
No, I know that.
I think he's in charge, but not in the building. Like, he's given me a list of instructions, so I've got to do them.
Who's going to be in charge? Like, there, because it's not just the two of you, is it?
No, there's 3 of us now. There's 3 of us.
How senior is the other person?
The other 2, more senior than me. Not hard.
Clearly. Well, risky from Simon Shakeman.
Well, he's due a rest. There we go.
Well, I was going to say, probably always tries to take off a couple of days at the beginning of Feb, right? Because January would be carnage.
Always does, yeah. Always does.
Yeah, don't blame him.
But there we go, guys. Nonetheless, enjoy your week. Think about reelers. Keep thinking.